Welcome to workplaceON. In this brief overview, we'll see an employee onboard and then use workplaceON to make their day more productive. The first item is the agent that will lead the new employee through the process of onboarding. In a step-by-step basis, simply click the button, the screen advances, content is presented in the most logical, easy to understand way. So typically we would start with a rich media object, a video of the CEO, something to welcome the new employee on board. We would confirm the data that we have collected on that particular employee, either through OpenID or perhaps through the recruiting system. Of course, if there's changes that need to be made, the employee would be given every opportunity. They could also update their photo. Beyond typical onboarding that establishes data collection and other step processes, what we're trying to do is get the individual connected to what really matters in their job. So we give them access to onboarding communities. Typical organization might have multiple hundreds of communities. Some of these are appropriate for onboarding. They would be tagged as such, and so they present to the new employees as they come on board so that they can readily pick items of interest where there's already established clusters of other like employees, be it interests, aspirations. Any number of topics can be used to draw the employee into a deeper sense of community, deeper interactions. And each community has people participating in it, so by matching the people across multiple communities, we can as well enhance this with Watson Analytics, augmented choicing for the right people. We've essentially now picked people and communities that are relevant. Like most organizations, this organization has compliance requirements, and so the onboarding module readily allows us to ensure that each individual has opted in and finished their onboarding responsibilities. So with that, we've brought them now into a more compelling workplace, one that's been personalized directly for them based on the various information about their role, what they do, and the choices that they made about topics that they're interested in. After onboarding, the next major thing we can do to make people more effective and engaged is give them a compelling interface to everything they need to know, to sense what's going on in the organization. So this is an example from a couple of large clients where we've iterated both content, rich content from a traditional website, and you can see a taxonomical or indexing model here similar to a typical website for employees, as well a heavy dose of, in fact, the majority of the content is social. And that's increasingly the trend because by definition social interactions are more engaging, and certainly the content is more dynamic in that it's always moving and changing. It doesn't have to be curated, doesn't have to be edited, doesn't have to be controlled. So people prefer dynamic content, particularly from their colleagues, and we provide that here in a many-to-one way. So rather than having to traverse the many corridors of connections to look at all of the different communities, all of the different blogs, we simply crawl a bunch of communities that have been chosen by the individual previously. As they mature in their relationship, these can change out. They have the ability to view many different approaches into the various communities. The key point with this is many-to-one, and then the ability to pin specific communities that are of keen interest. So that pattern of many-to-one, simplifying navigation and bringing more information up to the face of the individual, is repeated for multiple services within connections. Here you see blogs, photos from the media gallery, etc. And that then begets opportunities to do other clever things, such as if you had a newsletter in the Web 1.0 world, you would have an editor, a curator managing that content. In Web 2.0 world, with workplaceON would crawl across multiple blogs and do a consolidation and presentation of these. The content now much more rich, much more interesting, much more current, and coming from a consolidation of multiple blogs. So that's a quick overview of many-to-one, and the inverse of that would be one-to-many. So I've sensed what's going on. Now I need to take a look at giving feedback to the team on something that may have happened today up in my microblog. I can quickly update. It's perhaps not appropriate to go to the entire community. Maybe it's just 2 communities that I want to post to. So I'll take care of that. And essentially this one-to-many service pushes the content from my activity stream and my microblog back to selected communities one-to-many. Really, those are the three big value patterns. We repeat them essentially with each of the connection services, which gives us significant compression in user navigation and a much more compelling and rational experience. Finally, I'll offer that there is rich integration in this platform. So you see Twitter feeds here, other RSS feeds can be added. The content is easy enough that anyone with any experience crafting web pages is able to come into the page if they're given authority and make changes. And this is a relatively replete content management system. So we have workflow approvals, all the things that you would expect. And then as the user wants to make changes to the page, they have the ability to move things around, reorganize their page, and finally, if they have a want for significant other content on the page, we have a wide library available for them. So rich content, wrapping social artifacts from inside, outside the firewall. And finally, of course, you'd want augmented systems capabilities. So we bring in, since we're in cloud, we have access through Bluemix and to Watson. We can do clever things like pull in Watson talent, in this case talent insight, where with 50 words Watson can give you a very precise profile of each individual that you're working with in this system. And then if matching of optimal personalities is required for teamwork or customer client relationships, these sorts of matches are capable based on big data that's being culled from Watson and then patterns that are matched, optimized. So now that we have everything in one container, our social, our content, our Watson, everything working together seamlessly, designed for each individual, wouldn't it be nice if I could take it on the road? With workplaceON responsive design, that's possible because everything that's crafted in the workplaceON community does in fact translate directly into the mobile experience. So all these investments that you've made previously, they're all right here. Everything ports immediately into the mobile environment without fracture. A compelling experience whether you're in the office or on the road. And for companies with large mobile sales and service teams, this is absolutely huge value. This is no longer a nice to have, it's a have to have capability to do business. And that's workplaceON.